Hello and welcome back to Total Extreme Morrow. This is my third time recording the intro because I said All Elite Morrow the first two times. Why, may you ask? Because I'm an idiot, is the answer. We are back with a monster episode today. A monster episode. Let's do a little recap of Wrestle War. So Sting, the Steiner brothers, Steamboat and Rhodes defeated the Dangerous Alliance in the War Games match. MVC defeated Ron Simmons and Rocky Johnson. Regal, Luger, Douglas and Mr. Hughes defeated Scott Hall, Terry Funk, Diamond Dallas Page and Tito Santana. The survivors in this match were Luger and Regal. Roberts defeated Cactus Jack. Pillman defeated Malenko. That was to retain the light heavyweight title. He's on a great run. Great match too. Liger, Waltman, Ultimo Dragon and Jumpin' Joey Maggs defeated Guerrero, El Dandy, Jerry Lynn and Terry Taylor. Liger was the sole survivor in that match and he will shoot his shot at Brian Pillman at the Great American Bash in the third match of their series. Pillman is 2-0 at the moment, but he cheated in the first one. And then the Fabulous Freebirds defeat the Rock and Roll Express to win the US Tag Team titles. Let's have a look at the title situation. If we start with the World Heavyweight, it's vacant. You know why. Vader's gone. He's busted. His knee is in bits. That guy's just sitting at home eating, isn't he? When he comes back in January, he's going to be mammoth. I'm talking 95 Yokozuna. Then we go next on the list is the US Heavyweight title, Rick Rude. He is 7 title defenses in and he's held the title for 193 days. Now it's been a while since he defended it because I suppose he was involved in War Games and he's one of the favourites for the World Heavyweight Title Tournament. The tag team titles still on the greatest tag team in the history of space and time, the Miracle Violence Connection. They've made 3 successful title defences. They've had the title for 3 months now. Television titles, Lord Steven Regal. Again, it's been a while since he defended it. Is it? Actually, no. 6 days ago. I think he defended it on Power Hour against Marcus Alexander Bagwell. Good man. He's only made 1. That's his only defence. Again, he's a guy who's still in the World Heavyweight Title Tournament. Then the lightweight title, Pillman. Again, 3 months. And then the US Tag Team titles, the Freebirds, they're in their third reign with the US Tag titles. Yeah, cool. I think the big thing we need to look at right now is the tournament. The biggest tournament in the history of professional wrestling. I'll move my face. Look at that, I'm flying across the screen. We are into the last 16, approaching the quarterfinal stage. We have 2 wrestlers already in the quarterfinal. Number 1 is Rick Rude, gets a bye as a result of the Cactus Jack, Jake Roberts draw on TV. Lex Luger had to do his last 16 match early because Chono had some obligations throughout this coming month that would have been difficult to, if he had won, book him in all the subsequent necessary matches. He could have won actually and progressed. We would have had enough weeks to get him to the final, but there were some issues with regards to dates, availability of dates, as he is a part of our promotional partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He came in as a late replacement for Nikita Koloff, who got injured again. Another guy dropped into injury. These guys just need to fucking get in the gym or something. I don't know, like what's going on. So we get Steven Regal versus Ron Simmons. The winner will face Rick Rude. We get Scott Steiner versus Terry Gordy. We get Rick Steiner versus Steve Williams. We could have a situation here where the quarterfinal is brother versus brother or tag team partner versus tag team partner. Very interesting. Very interesting. On the other side of the draw, we get Steamboat and Shane Douglas. And Luger's already through. We get a first time ever singles match. Never happened before. I remember one time WWF kind of did an angle teasing a Steve Austin Terry Funk match. That match, I believe, never came to pass. I even checked house show records. It appears Steve Austin and Terry Funk never wrestled in a singles match. It's why I booked the tournament this way, to be perfectly honest. That is an absolute dream match of mine. Two of my favorite wrestlers ever. Probably like 2 of my top 5 favorite wrestlers ever. And Sting and his trials with the Dangerous Alliance shall continue when he takes on Arn Anderson. So a mega tournament here. Not Omega tournament, a mega tournament. So yeah, lots of stuff here. The pay-per-view is going to be coming together quite late on this one because we won't have what was it? There I'm flying across the screen again. Look at that. Where did I put myself? Like, where's the best place? The screen is cluttered, man. Yeah, I think that's the best place. A lot of this pay-per-view will be coming together late as a result of the tournament. But, you know, if we go to our top 100s there, we are on a roll recently. Wrestle Wars, our best rated event of all time. And 3 of the TV shows leading up to that are ranked 2, 3, and 4 in terms of our highest rated events. So we are a company that is starting to click. If we look at our top 100 matches, how many of them happened in May? Well, April and May take up the top 4 slots. Yeah, so you can see even out of the top 8, I think April and May take up 6 of the top 8 best matches we've ever done. And there was a whole host of kind of mid to lower 80s matches over the last month as well. In terms of attendances, Spring Stampede and Wrestle War are our top 2. Wrestle War actually took place in Madison Square Garden. So WWE declared war on us a month ago. So I decided that the first thing we were going to do during that war is go straight into their territory, run war games, put on an event that there is no way they can match in terms of quality. So the war is firmly underway. We had a 30-day period where the results of the war wouldn't take effect. PPV buy rates, again, our last 2, you know, March was down a little bit. It was always going to be down for Super Brawl. Super Brawl is, I suppose, one of our flagship ones. Clash of the Champions was going to be a bit lower as well because it doesn't have the prestige of something like Super Brawl or Spring Stampede or even Wrestle War. TV ratings, who gives shit. Viewership, it's creeping up there. It's weird that we get more viewership on our pay-per-views than we do on TV. That's kind of a signifier of our TV deal being not the strongest. So we're going to move into the first TV show of the pay-per-view cycle. We'll be doing 3 of the 6 matches that we have in the last 16 of our tournament. We are live tonight from the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. Bit of a mouthful. Cheers, lads. Main event, tournament match. Scott Steiner versus Terry Gordy. We get a Jake Roberts promo after his epic victory over Cactus Jack at the pay-per-view. We get Liger, Watman and Ultimo Dragon versus El Dandy Guerrero and Brian Pillman. That's sure to be a cracker. We get Steve Williams versus Rick Steiner. I'm going to move that one down here. We get Big Scott Hall versus Rip Rogers. I think I'm going to move that one as well. Yeah. And then, yeah, we have the interview with Cac. We have Scott Hall versus Rogers. We've got a promo with Dustin Rhodes, Steamboat, and Sting. Short one. We have the Fabulous Freebirds versus Style and Stubbstons. Stubby Stubbstons. That's Eddie Gilbert and Tommy Rich. We got a promo with Luger and Harley Race. An angle with Garvin, Gordy, and Hayes. Interesting. Ron Simmons versus Lord Steven Regal in the final tournament match of the night. I did say Steve Williams versus Rick Steiner in the other one, didn't I? Can't remember. And then just one pre-show match all tonight. We're going Diamond Dallas Page versus this jobber guy, Paul Levesque. Let's get into it, folks. So, yeah, Diamond Dallas Page, no surprise, beats the jobber. Grand. Well done, Diamond. Hard luck, jobber. Ron Simmons defeats Lord Steven Regal. Ron Simmons is into the quarterfinals of the tournament. Great match. 2 great performances. Ron Simmons has really, really upped his game in previous weeks. So that is good to see. Ron Simmons is getting into those performances where he can be in the world title picture, and he's in the quarterfinal of the tournament. Get a little backstage segment where we see Garvin and Hayes approach their old friend Terry Gordy, and they're offering to help him win the tournament. Gordy rejects. He rejects their advances. interesting, to say the least. We get Harley Race and Lex Luger in a promo. Harley Race says Lex Luger is clearly the only one to carry this company forward. He will be the next WCW World Heavyweight Champion. He's going all the way in the tournament and he's going to win it. That's the words of Harley Race. We get the Fabulous Freebirds then defeating Style and Substance to make defense number 1 and their third reign with WCW US Tag Team titles. I hate that name. It's way too long. Nobody had a good performance here except Eddie Gilbert, which is interesting because when I brought him in first, I had him on the B show and he was performing nowhere near 65 because he is a physical croc. Let's have a look at this. He is crocked to bits. Declining. Where is he? Eddie Gilbert, physical condition. Yes. Well, I suppose everyone in this match is a physical croc. But Gilbert appears to be an absolute physical croc, nearly Magnum TA levels of bad back. We get Dustin Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat and Sting. Steamboat struggled without a script, even with multiple takes, thanks to this being pre-tape. Good man, Ricky. You can't even get it right when you're on a pre-tape. This is pre-taped after War Games. These three guys are off the show tonight, selling their injuries. Unfortunately, for Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner, there is no rest. They're in the World Title Tournament. So they're coming off War Games 4 days earlier, 4 days earlier, having to wrestle in the title tournament against a tag team, now albeit in singles matches this time, who have beaten them multiple times. So not an ideal situation for the Steiners when it comes to the tournament itself. We have 10,690 in the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. We get Big Scott Hall beats Rip Rogers with the Diamond Death Drop in 3 minutes 35 seconds. Excellent performance from Big Scott Hall. We get an interview backstage with Cactus Jack and Terry Funk. So both of these guys recently beaten by Jake Roberts. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk, once enemies, now friends. They are entering the tag team division. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk are entering the tag team division. Here we get Steve Williams beats Rick Steiner in 10 minutes 34 seconds with a backdrop driver. Definite lack of psychology on display, and the match tended to drift a little bit. That's weird because I think IRL Steve Williams has fantastic psychology, despite the fact some people think he is just a big lump of meat. Two unbelievable performances. Obviously, it was hurt a little bit by the overall rating, was hurt a little bit by this psychology thing. So the segment itself, the match rating is an 80, still very, very good. Now, this is a very interesting angle. We get a backstage promo from Paulie Dangerously. He's got 3 members of the Dangerous Alliance still left in the tournament. Those members are Arn Anderson, Rick Rude, and Steve Austin. However, everyone cuts a little promo here, okay? Everyone cuts a little promo. Aaron says he's taking out Sting. Sting is not going to make it to the next round. Steve Austin says that Terry Funk's head's not in the right place. He's not ready to face Steve Austin. He's thinking about his friendship and tag team with Cactus Jack, and Steve Austin is going to make him pay. Rick Rude says that Ron Simmons won earlier tonight, but Ron Simmons won't be beating Rick Rude. Rick Rude is going all the way. Paulie Dangerously, in his part, seems to back Rick Rude mostly, which draws the ire of Steve Austin. Steve Austin's bollocks is ired. He's got an irie bollocks. So Steve Austin isn't happy that Paulie Dangerously, his manager, seems to be putting his eggs in the Rick Rude basket. Just the classic 6-man, because we just do classic 6-mans with our boys in the junior division, because they're all awesome and they always have banger matches. Liger debuted a hot new move. Good man, Liger. Match got the crowd buzzing. Sean Waltman's getting better at his gimmick. Everyone had a really good performance. Yeah, Waltman's was a little bit less than the rest, but he's progressing nicely. Liger with an 86. Pillman with a 79. And El Dandy here again with another 80. El Dandy. My new favorite wrestler on the roster is El Dandy. We get a promo from Jake Roberts. This is one of these weird promos he does with lights, and it's like a kind of a Bray Wyatt type thing. Very cryptic. But basically he's saying is he's beaten Cactus Jack. He's beaten Terry Funk. He might be out of the tournament, but whoever wins the tournament, Jake the Snake Roberts is putting them on notice. He's going to be lurking in the shadows, snaking in whatever, and he's coming for whoever wins the tournament. Jake Roberts declares he is a future WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Now it's time for our main event, Terry Gordy versus Scott Steiner. Terry Gordy, who earlier tonight rejected the advances of his old friends. We get a decent match, not enough selling. Who cares? Terry Gordy and Scott Steiner. They're not supposed to sell. They're supposed to beat the shit out of each other. Terry Gordy defeats Scott Steiner. Look, this was too soon after War Games for Scott and Rick. It was too soon after War Games. The Steiners screwed by the draw. Maybe it's their own fault for accepting Sting's invitation onto the Sting Squadron for the War Games match against the Dangerous Alliance and beaten again by an old rival. Terry Gordy advances, so that means in 2 weeks' time on WCW television, we get Terry Gordy versus Steve Williams, tag team champions. The greatest tag team in the history of time and space will be facing off in a quarter-final match for the WCW World Heavyweight title. And not only that, but the Freebirds are getting all up in Gordy's business, offering to help. Gordy didn't need the help tonight. He rejected the help, but there you have it, folks. Good show, not unbelievable. It only increased the popularity in one region. Suck a bag of hairy. We are back for our final three of the round of 16. I think the round of 16 to 16 was kind of not, because there was a buy-in there. But the final quarter-final qualification matches, we got Steve Austin versus Terry Funk. Tournament match, obviously, Sting versus Arn Anderson, and Ricky Steamboat versus Shane Douglas. Let's just get straight into it, shall we? Shall we? I hate the word shall. Pre-show, Dean Malenko beats Eric Watts, cool. Larry Zbyszko beats Firebreaker Chip, cool. El Dandy beats Ken Raper. I remember him showing up as a jobber on WWF, probably Superstars or something back in the day. And the image of it always gets reshared on Funniest Wrestler Name stuff on the internet. El Dandy 83, this guy. Straight into a 6-man opener, Dustin Rhodes, Big Scott Hall and Brad Armstrong versus Regal and Style and Substance. That's Tommy Rich and Eddie Gilbert. Scott Hall pinned Lord Steven Regal. Hall pins the TV champion. These two had a bit of a back and forth on the B show earlier in the night, Power Hour. We're in the Myriad Convention Centre in the Mid-Atlantic region. We have almost 11,000 in the house. Eddie Gilbert getting some bonuses there. Who had good performances? Brad Armstrong, good performance. Scott Hall, good performance. Dustin Rhodes, good performance. And Stephen Regal with an excellent performance. So Regal Big Scott Hall gets a pin over the current TV champion, Lord Steven Regal. We get a promo backstage from Jake the Snake Roberts, reiterating his cryptic words from last week. Not so cryptic when you say you're coming for whoever wins the title tournament. Ricky Steamboat beats Shane Douglas with a chicken wing by submission. Ricky Steamboat advances. I think that's probably one of the more obvious of the last round of 16 matches. But Steamboat is into the quarterfinals, and he'll actually take on the winner of Steve Austin and Terry Funk in said. Is it quarterfinal? I actually can't remember. No, he'll take on Lex Luger, I think, actually. We need to check that. I can do that right now. Yeah, Steamboat is taking on Luger. Steamboat is taking on Luger. That quarterfinal match is set. So that'll be a banger. Actually, they previously had the best match in company history. When I say company history, since I came in, when Luger beat Steamboat at the pay-per-view. We get a backstage segment with Paulie Dangerously and Steve Austin. Steve Austin tells Paulie Dangerously he doesn't want him in his corner tonight. Do not come to the ring. Austin tells him that he's going to beat Terry Funk 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring by himself without Paulie Dangerously. Sting beats Arn Anderson in a very mediocre match. Mediocre by current standards. Earlier in the year, that would have been considered a fairly good match. Kind of disappointed with that. Scorpion Deadlock, again, okay performances. After the match, though, Tully and Aaron attack Sting, but he is saved by Cactus Jack and Terry Funk. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk have saved Sting from Aaron and Tully. We're going to have to ask them why. Why are they out there doing that? But, we'll get an interview on the case. Liger has just made his ring entrance for his 1v1 match with Eddie Guerrero tonight when Pillman's music hits, and Pillman joins the commentary team for the match between Liger and Eddie Guerrero. They have a few words back and forth as Pillman is joining the ringside commentary team, and then Liger beats Guerrero in 12 minutes with a brainbuster in quite an excellent match. And then we get a backstage interview, or kind of an interview, more of a promo again from Gary Hart. He's saying that all is well with the Miracle Violence Connection, despite the fact that they'll be facing off in the tournament quarterfinals next Wednesday night. Gary Hart is saying that what the Freebirds have done have had no effect on Terry Gordy, and that Terry Gordy and Steve Williams will wrestle to find out who the better man is, and one of these two men will be holding both the world title and the tag team titles come Great American Bash. Main event time. Steve Austin beats Terry Funk with a submission with a Hollywood and Vine. Austin progresses. Two decent performances, decent match, a very good match to be fair. Anything in the 80s is very good. So Austin progresses. That means the quarterfinals are set. We're getting Austin versus Sting. We're getting Luger versus Steamboat. We're getting Rick Rude versus Ron Simmons. We're getting Terry Gordy versus Steve Williams. So the next world champion is one of those 8 men. And those quarterfinals will be taking place on the next TV show. 7 days time, 4 quarterfinals. Overall rating of the show is excellent. Yeah, weirdly excellent because none of our matches reached that height. Financial report, 160k. We've so much money, it's kind of ridiculous. It's not a concern whatsoever. Our popularity is increasing. We're up in the 80s in a couple of regions, high 70s in a lot of regions. So, yeah, look, Booker Bill Watts' booking is getting over, despite what the internet nerds say in the YouTube comments. Those nerds. And what these dumb podcasters say on the Wrestling Fan Wrestling Show weekly, criticising the booking of Bill Watts. But it just goes to show the IWC lives in a bubble. They don't know what they're talking about. The fickle fans that don't know what they want. I want the match now. I want the match. That's all I ever hear. Well, guess what? You've been taken on a journey, Jack. We're back for the quarterfinals of the greatest tournament in the history of professional wrestling. On tonight's show, in the main event, Ricky Steamboat versus Lex Luger. Steve Austin versus Sting, the Icon. The greatest tag team in the history of space and time face off against each other. Terry Gordy versus Steve Williams. Rick Rude versus Ron Simmons. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Again, only one pre-show match tonight. We're in the Charleston Civic Centre. 11,306 people here to witness the quarterfinals. El Dandy, Rocky Johnson. Rocky Johnson on a short-term deal. Just give the guy a payday. Just give him the guy a payday. He deserves it. He's had a great career. But El Dandy beats Rocky Johnson with the Dandy roll. Opening match of the card, I believe, is Rick Rude versus Ron Simmons in the quarterfinal. It is. And Rick Rude defeats Ron Simmons in 15 minutes, 10 seconds by pinfall with the Rude Awakening. Excellent match. Rick Rude with a sensational performance. Rick had the bye. He had the bye coming into this. He's had one less match than everyone else in the tournament. He had a few weeks rest after the War Games match. And that War Games match played a major role here. We've seen Scott and Rick Steiner really struggle. They both lost in the immediate aftermath of War Games. So Rick Rude getting the rest after War Games has really helped him. He's beaten Ron Simmons. We get the two guys aren't great on promos, but it's decent actually overall. 69, Regal and Scott Hall. Big Scott Hall has challenged Regal to a match for the WCW World Television title at the Great American Bash. Lord Steven Regal has accepted said challenge. This time Brian Pillman has come to the ring for his match against Sean Waltman, but this time Jushin Thunder Liger interrupts him, and Liger will be joining commentary for this match. And Pillman beats Waltman in a very good match with the Air Pillman defense number 4 of the WCW Light Heavyweight title. We get just a video package focusing on Dustin Rhodes. After his losing streak, or more, not really a streak, but a kind of a string of high profile losses, Dustin Rhodes is in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get his damn career back on track. That's a Dr. Dre 2001 reference, in case you didn't get it. Cool. Let's move on. We get an angle backstage with Bill Watts. Bill Watts, the booker. That's me. And Jake Roberts. Seen having a conversation in the background. And Bill Watts has made clear to Jake Roberts that he won't be getting an immediate title shot at the winner of the tournament. Said you had your chance in the tournament. You're going to have to earn it. And you will have an opportunity to earn it at the Great American Bash in a very special match, Bill Watts tells him. Bill Watts tells him there will be 6 men in this match. The other participants will be revealed as the tournament progresses, but there'll be 6 men in the match. Jake Roberts is apoplectic. He's apoplectic at this. The fact that he'll have to earn his title shot in a match at the pay-per-view, and it won't be a standard 6-man match. There will be, some wrinkles to this. So Jake Roberts will be in a match at the pay-per-view to earn the number 1 contendership for whoever wins the tournament. So it's not going to be straightforward, Jake. And then we get Terry Gordy and Steve Williams. Steve Williams defeats Terry Gordy in just over 10 minutes by pinfall with the backdrop driver following a botched interference by Michael Hayes. Terry Gordy told Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin he didn't need their help. Michael Hayes tries to interfere anyway, but he botches it, costing Terry Gordy an opportunity to win the match. Steve Williams beats Terry Gordy. Steve Williams progresses in the tournament, but Terry Gordy's old friend Michael Hayes, who's been trying to sow seeds of doubt in the Miracle Violence connection, interesting to say the least. Terry Gordy's out. Steve Williams progresses. So that's 1 semi-final set. That's Rick Rude versus Steve Williams in 1 semi-final. Terry Gordy, I'm sure he'll be raging after the botched interference finish by Michael Hayes. And interestingly, Terry Gordy and Steve Williams don't seem to click, and it made for an awkward bout. That's weird, seeing as they have great chemistry as a tag team partners. Okay, game. And then we get an interview here backstage. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk are asked by Eric Bischoff why they helped Sting against Arn and Tully last week. And Cactus Jack and Terry Funk respond that they're going to make a splash in the tag team division, and they want to start with Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. They challenge Arn and Tully for the Great American Bash. And here we have Steve Austin defeats Sting in 15 minutes with a stun gun. No interferences. He beats him clean as a sheet. He told Dangerously he didn't want him out there, but Dangerously came out anyway. Dangerously didn't interfere though. This is a clean victory for Steve Austin over Sting. And Steve Austin progresses to the semi-final, where he'll take on the winner of Lex Luger and Ricky Steamboat. This is a monumental victory for Steve Austin. After the match, Steve Austin grabs the mic. He cuts an electric promo, 92 rating segment. He cuts the promo on Lex Luger. He cuts the promo on Dangerously. Said he doesn't need him. He cuts the promo on Rick Rude, who's coming up next. He cuts the promo on Ricky Steamboat, who he could be facing next week. It's either Luger or Steamboat. He cuts promos on everybody in the tournament. Stunning Steve Austin says he doesn't need Paulie Dangerously. F Rick Rude, F Steamboat, F Luger, F Williams. Austin claims he's going all the way. He's beaten the Icon Sting, and he's ready for whoever wins the main event. And the winner of the main event in an unbelievable match. Not quite as good as their pay-per-view match, but still very good. Ricky Steamboat defeats Lex Luger. Lex complained about this backstage. Fuck off, Lex. Ricky Steamboat with a 95, and he seemed off his game. If 95 was off his game, what's on his game? What's on his game? Incredible. So next week in the semi-finals on the go-home show for Great American Bash, we get Ricky Steamboat versus Steve Austin, and we get Rick Rude versus Steve Williams. One of those four men will be the next WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Banger show, greatest tournament in the history of wrestling. Overall rating 89. How are we not growing in every region? Let's see, financial report. Heap of money, yeah, put it in my pocket. Okay, yeah, right. We got very good growth across most of our key regions. Let's come back for the semi-finals and let's see the rest of the tournament take shape. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the semi-finals. Why do the Yanks always say semi-finals? Okay, let's just get into it. This is a heavy exposition show. There's a lot going on. Pre-show, Rocky Johnson's last appearance for the company. He puts over Jerry Lynn on the way out the door. Thank you, Rocky. I hope the payday can make your young son a little bit richer as he goes off to Florida College there to play his American football and all. Thanks for your service, Rocky. Z-Man beats young local jobber Stevie Richards. Just having a look. There he is, Stevie Richards. Brought him in for the night. We're in the tri-state area. We're in Philadelphia Convention Hall. 10,392 in attendance for the semi-finals. This tournament has been a monster rating success and ticket sales success across the board. But we're at the penultimate stage of the tournament tonight. The show opens up with Harley Race approaching Bill Watts, telling him Lex Luger wants in to the six-man match to become the number one contender for the world title. Bill Watts doesn't give him an answer just yet. We got Arn and Tully beating the WCW Patriots little squash match. And then we have Scott Steiner along with Sting and Rick Steiner approaching Bill Watts, telling them they all want in. Scott and Rick are, they're a bit aggrieved over having to wrestle their tournament matches at the straight after War Games, and Sting, as a former world champion, wants in as well, despite the fact he's had 2 losses now to stunning Steve Austin. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk beat Style and Stubbs. It's a really good match, actually. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk are deadly. Oh, they have excellent chemistry together. That's good. That's really good, because we're going to be sticking with them as a team for the foreseeable future. We get Terry Gordy cuts a promo. He cuts a promo on Steve Williams. He cuts a promo on Gary Hart. He cuts a promo on Michael Hayes. He cuts a promo on Jimmy Garvin. He says he's out of here. He's out of here. He's taking his ball and he's going home. Terry Gordy, not happy. Then we get an announcement from Eric Bischoff in the ring. Eric Bischoff announces that the 6-man match and stipulation at the Great American Bash will be Sting, Scott Steiner, and Rick Steiner versus Dustin Rhodes, Lex Luger, and Jake Roberts. A 6-man tag. The winning team of that 6-man tag will immediately face off in a 3-man elimination match. And the last man standing will be the number one contender for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. So we get Dustin Rhodes, Lex Luger, and Jake Roberts versus Sting and the Steiners. The winning team will face off in a 3-way elimination match. The losing team will be gone. They'll be eliminated. So 6-man tag, Sting and the Steiners, Luger, Rhodes, and Jake Roberts, and the winning team will face off in a 3-man elimination match. Immediately, straight into it, no messing around. So that's booked for the Great American Bash this coming weekend, and we will have a readily established number one contender for the winner of the tournament. And now we get the semi-final of the World Heavyweight Title Tournament. We have Rick Rude defeats Steve Williams in 15 minutes with a rude awakening in an 89 match. I believe that's the third best match we've produced in my time here. Rick Rude with a 92, Steve Williams with an 88. Rick Rude is the first finalist booked. He'll be in the main event of the Great American Bash. He's the US champion. He could be carrying both titles. After the match, Jimmy Garvin and Michael Hayes attack Steve Williams. Terry Gordy's not here. He left. He took his ball. He went home earlier tonight. We get a six-man tag. El Dandy, Eddie Guerrero and Brian Pillman versus Liger, Waltman and Malenko. And in this match, El Dandy submits Dean Malenko with the Dandina. The match was designed so that wrestlers go out and steal the show. 83, very good match. Great performances from Pillman. Great performance from Liger. Very good performance from Dandy and Malenko and Guerrero, yeah. Waltman's lagging a little bit behind the rest, but he's getting there. He's improving all the time. Look at him, the cute little face on him. Look at this little cutie there. Oh, Shawnee Waltman, baby. So, interesting one that El Dandy's the one to pick up the pin. A guy who isn't involved in the junior heavyweight title match this coming weekend. We get a backstage promo from Gary Hart. Gary Hart challenges Jimmy Garvin and Michael Hayes on behalf of the Miracle Violence Connection. Title versus title at the pay-per-view. He promises that Terry Gordy will show up. He promises that Steve Williams will have his partner in his corner. 2v2 WCW United States tag titles versus WCW World tag titles taking place at the pay-per-view. I'm assuming Jimmy Garvin and Michael Hayes are this is what they wanted all along. Now we go to the main event. Steve Austin versus Ricky Steamboat. Austin could be up against Rick Rude, his staple mate. Although Austin and the Dangerous Alliance haven't been getting on very well recently. Austin seems to be the odd man out there. And Ricky Steamboat. And we get, it's a 96 rated match. Holy shit. Holy shit. Ricky Steamboat defeats Steve Austin in 20 minutes, 38 seconds by pinfall with the diving crossbody. Best match we've had. Probably the best match the company's had since Flair Steamboat 1989. This is an absolute banger. It's essentially a 5-star classic. Essentially a 5-star classic. On TV. Free TV. You get this match. Austin won't be at the pay-per-view. And the run he's on, he's beaten Sting. He's beaten Terry Funk. He's beaten Scott Hall. And Austin's the odd man out here. Let's see how that affects his mentality and his relationship. What's that? A beard hair. Let's see how it affects his mentality and his relationship with the Dangerous Alliance. But our main event is set for the Great American Bash. We have Ricky Steamboat versus Rick Rude for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, the most important championship in professional wrestling. This show does an 88. That's not even our best show, which is mad considering we had an 89 match and a 96 match. I think another last week's one I think did an 89. Interesting. But wow, yeah, we're cooking. 141k in the bank. Popularity increasing. Let's come back for the pay-per-view. Let's crown our new WCW World Heavyweight Champion. It's time for the Great American Bash. We'll crown our new champion. We've got a loaded show. We've got that 6-man thing. We've got the world title match. We've got Freebirds versus MVC. We've got Regal versus Scott Hall for the TV title. We've got Liger versus Pillman for the junior title. We've got Cactus Jack and Terry Funk versus Anderson and Tully. And we have another 6-man junior heavyweight showcase. Let's get into the action in a decent pre-show match. Ron Simmons, DDP, the Rock and Roll Express beat Terry Taylor, the Dangerous Alliance, and Shane Douglas. when Ron Simmons pins Terry Taylor with a spine buster. We've got 21,678 people packed into the Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's get into the main show. Who had a good performance? Zbyszko, Ron Simmons. Okay, good. The main show kicks off with the Junior Heavyweight Showcase. El Dandy pins Ultimo Dragon with the Dandy roll. Dandy with a great performance in the 80s. Guerrero 76, Malenko 79, and Ultimo Dragon 77. Jerry Lynn lagging behind, kind of along with Sean Waltman, slightly in the 60s. Gets the match off to a strong. Gets the show off to a shot. This match got the show off to a strong start. Learn to read, you dumbass Bill Watts. Next up, we've got the tag match. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk defeat Tully and Arn when Cactus Jack drops Tully Blanchard on his head and pins him 1, 2, 3. Excellent opening match. Cactus Jack with a 90 performance. Wasn't even a hardcore match. This guy is on a tear. Terry Funk doing well as well, and as are Arn and Tully. Oh my God, we've got a backstage attack. Beautiful Bobby Eaton and Larry Zbyszko have attacked Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes is laid out flat. Dustin Rhodes is in the 6-man tonight for number 1 contendership. He's been laid out flat in the back. Not ideal for Dustin. And Liger beats Brian Pillman with the shooting star press. Regains the WCW Light Heavyweight, Junior Heavyweight Championship in an excellent match rated 85. So Liger is once again the Junior Heavyweight title. He's actually in his trilogy with Pillman. He's still 1 and 2 despite the fact that Pillman cheated in the first match. We get an announcement backstage. Eric Bischoff announces that Dustin Rhodes is out of the 6-man match later tonight. He is injured. He's off the card. He cannot compete. He's been brought to a local medical facility, aka a fucking hospital. Dustin Rhodes is en route to the hospital from injuries sustained from Larry Zbyszko, and I think it was Zarna. Beautiful Bobby Eaton does dastardly Dangerous Alliance pricks. And Big Scott Hall regains again the WCW World Television title by beating Steven Regal in just under 13 minutes with the Diamond Death Drop. A very good match. Scott Hall, he's been rewarded for his recent performances, despite the fact that he shows up here and puts in a pretty shit performance by his recent standards. Regal carried the match, basically. Disappointing performance from Scott Hall, given where he had been at recently, and the reason he got the title back was because of these great performances. Oh my God! Shawn Michaels! Shawn Michaels is here! The degenerate Shawn Michaels has attacked Scott Hall after the match, laid him out with a sweet chin music. It looks like who saw this coming? How could you possibly have seen this coming? Shawn Michaels has attacked Scott Hall after the television title match. And that's a big statement from Shawn Michaels. New on the WCW roster. Gone from World Wrestling Federation. Vince's factory of fuckboys. Shawn Michaels has gone south to Atlanta. Welcome to WCW, Shawn Michaels. And we get the MVC. Terry Gordy has shown up, and the MVC beat the Freebirds in a sensational match. Terry Gordy pins Michael Hayes with a running leg drop. Defense number 4 of the tag team titles, and they win the WCW United States tag titles. What does that mean for the future of the US tag titles? We're going to find out on Wednesday night on TV. Excellent performances from Gordy and Steve Williams. Really top-notch performances. Jimmy Garvin and Michael Hayes were heavy carried to the match. We get an interaction backstage with Steve Austin and Bill Watts. Steve Austin tells Bill Watts he wants Dustin Rhodes' place in the upcoming 6-man. Bill Watts agrees. He can't have Luger and the other guy, Jake Roberts, go out there on their own. So Bill Watts agrees. Steve Austin is inserted into the 6-man match. He'll be teaming with Luger and Jake Roberts against Sting and the Steiners. The winning team then will face off against each other in a 3-man elimination match. And the winners of that match are Jake Roberts, Steve Austin, and Lex Luger. Lex Luger pinned Scott Steiner with the attitude adjustment pile driver. Great performances there from Scott Steiner. Sting is okay. Luger's okay. Steve Austin's excellent. Jake Roberts is okay. And Rick Steiner is okay. Rick Steiner was off his game. Okay. We're into it instantly. There ain't no time to waste here, people. There ain't no time to waste. These guys have already wrestled 12 minutes. They're now going into the 3-man elimination match. That's Jake Roberts versus Steve Austin versus Lex Luger. And the winner of that match is Steve Austin defeats Lex Luger and Jake Roberts in under 13 minutes. With the first elimination of Jake Roberts and then Lex Luger, Steve Austin carried the match because he's unbelievable. So Steve Austin will be the number one contender for the winner of tonight's title match, which is Rick Rude versus Ricky Steamboat. We've already seen him have an all-time classic with Steamboat on TV. There's dissension in the ranks of the Dangerous Alliance after Paul E. Very publicly backed Rick Rude as the number one guy within the faction. Austin is out to prove that wrong. Will he be facing Rick Rude at Beach Blast next month, or will he be facing Ricky Steamboat? We're about to find out. Oh my God, a 99! A 99! Put a flake in it. Put some hundreds and thousands on it. It's a 5-star classic. Yes! Sorry if you're wearing headphones. We've got a 99 in the house. Creative finish was a success. Ricky Steamboat defeats Rick Rudes in 30 minutes 12 seconds by pinfall with the diving crossbody. Ricky Steamboat wins the WCW World Heavyweight title. That match brings to a close the greatest tournament in the history of professional wrestling with a 5-star classic 30-minute back and forth between Ricky Steamboat and Rick Rude. Our new heavyweight champion of the world, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. What a match. Wow. Overall rating 95. Best show in company history by a comfortable margin. We've had an all-time classic in the main event. We have Steve Austin has emerged as the number one contender for Ricky Steamboat's title in a rematch of their semi-final classic. MVC dispatch the Fabulous Freebirds in an excellent tag title match. Big Scott Hall regains the WCW World Television title with victory over Regal. But the big news, I suppose, coming out of that one is the debut of Shawn Michaels. Liger regains the light heavyweight title with a victory over Brian Pillman. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk have introduced themselves to the tag team division. Well, they've had a few wins, but this is their third win by beating Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Jerry Lynn, El Dandy and Guerrero beat Waltman, Malenko and Ultimo Dragon. El Dandy getting the pin. Maybe that means El Dandy has emerged as number one contender for Liger's light heavyweight title. Unbelievable show. Let's address the locker room. There's so many guys here we need to single out. Obviously, our new champion Steamboat is getting some love there. Obviously, Rick Rude, he's part of one half of the best match in company history. It's certified 5-star classic. And I think I'm going to go with Terry Gordy was immense, as was Steve Williams. Where's Steve Williams? There. So I'm going to praise all these guys. Do you know what? Steamboat's getting a hug. I'm going to praise the rest of them. They don't seem like huggable characters. I can't imagine Terry Gordy or Steve Williams appreciating a hug. They're all pleased with my speech, and Steamboat's obviously pleased to get a hug. As the new WCW World Heavyweight Champion, this show brought in a profit of $4 million. That's like double what we were doing. Ticket sales of 650, merchandise 100k, pay-per-view revenue 3,600,000. We're making absurd money. I might throw out a few bonuses after as well. Popularity recap up across the board. Up across the board. I wonder now, are we challenging the World Wrestling Federation? Media scrum. Yeah, I'm sure it was a one-off. Ricky Martin had enough night. So people are calling great. Yeah, it was a huge success. The whole roster should be very proud. Response goes down well with the locker room. This is a company right now. You look back a couple of months there. Vader's injury. Scorpio Sky signing, or not Scorpio Sky, Too Cold Scorpio signing with New Japan. All these things. You had malcontents, such as Kieran Dunphy and Shane O'Keefe, mouthing off. Mouthing off they were. They were mouthing off. Oh, the heels are winning all the matches. Why aren't MVC taking on the Freebirds? Look at us now. We're flying high. We're flying high. The Booker man, Big Bill Watts, right here, Big Bill Watts, has just brought this company to new heights. One of the greatest matches in the history of professional wrestling. Without a shadow of a doubt, the greatest tournament in the history of professional wrestling. A tag title reign for the ages from Miracle Violence Connection. Stories been told up and down the roster. The emergence of stunning Steve Austin. Is he breaking away from the Dangerous Alliance? The emergence, the young talent, the junior heavyweight division is humming. Titles back on Liger. El Dandy is on fire. El Dandy's on fire. Eddie Guerrero on fire. Brian Pillman still on fire, and he's putting on weight. I had a chat with him backstage. He wants to move up to heavyweight. This is a company. Steve Austin's come to the end of his current deal. What? So bring me back down to earth. Yeah, whatever. Fuck you, Z-Man. This is a company that is right now firing on all cylinders. Critically, financially, what else? Everything has clicked into place despite the fact Vader went down for a year. Despite the malcontents in the comments. Look at me now. Look at me now, malcontents. We'll be back next week. The build to Beach Blast. We already know our main event. It's Steve Austin versus Ricky Steamboat in a rematch of the Classic. 2 words for you. Morrow rules.